in coming days
the payment of tithing as fire insurance.
he decried exactly what his church should be called. Quote, "For thus shall my church be called in the last days, even the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints." Close quote.
Travis Wayne Goodsell. So, Mormons, you were given an extension to preserve your life. Are you making good use of this time? You claim you study your scriptures. You even claim you know your scriptures. There are Mormon apologists who are arrogant enough to debate the Antichrist Korah whores that attack the church and kick the pricks. Right? And so Mormons who are ignorant about the church and don't actually study refer to Mormon apologists and get all of their information from them. Well, you remember when President Russell Marion Nelson, baby name meaning Russell Marion, anybody look it up? Anybody? I did. Got up at the pulpit of conference and demanded you say the name Jesus. That word Jesus Christ Christians, non-Trinitarian. But they don't tell us we're non-Trinitarian. You have to see online that the church is saying that we're non-Trinitarian. And so Christians are confused when we say we're Christian, just like you. No, we're not. Do you know that there's a difference between Trinitarian and non-Trinitarian? Well, Nelson says that the name of Joseph Smith's church was, according to section 115, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. For Joseph Smith is said to have said, "For thus my church shall be called in the last days, even the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints." Did you catch the name of the millennial church, though? It says, "My church in Zion, for thus it shall be called." What is his name? Well, it's Jesus. Why didn't he say Jesus? Jesus Christ Church in Zion? Is that going to be the name? When is the millennium? We need to find out when the abomination of desolation is going to happen, because that's when he comes. So confusing. Well, wait a minute. Section 115 is claimed to have been given April 26, 1838. Okay. So Joseph Smith gave this talk at Far West, Missouri, and changed the name of the church to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Right? Because that's what we're told. Do you know about the Joseph Smith papers? Do you? Do you know that yesterday the church announced that they've begun and have finished volume 1 of The Brigham Young papers? Got some computer difficulties going on right now. The Brigham Young papers, the authoritative source for all things Brigham Young. Just like the Joseph Smith papers, the authoritative source for all things Joseph Smith. Did you study them? Did you research them? You didn't. Why? You said you do. Did you lie to me? Are you a liar? Who is the author of all lies? Oh, the baby name meaning Russell Marion, huh? Strange. Well, here in 1838, after April, the Joseph Smith history is written and is published in the Times and Seasons. And wait a minute, the Joseph Smith papers says that there's an error here. Owing to the many reports which have been put in circulation by evil-disposed and designing persons, that's interesting, in relation to the rise and progress of, pause for technical difficulties, of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, all of which have been designed by the authors thereof to militate against its character as a church and its progress in the world. Interesting. Joseph Smith Papers says Willard Richards added Jesus Christ to the name. Well, it's because Joseph Smith earlier in April changed the name, and he just forgot. Anybody watch my Willard Richards video yesterday? Forger and child rapist for Jesus? Yeah, So now we're starting to understand who Joseph Smith is referring to as evil-disposed and designing persons, authors thereof to militate against Joseph's church. You do know how to study, don't you? You're not a liar, are you? So why then is the church name of Joseph Smith's church the Church of Latter-day Saints? Did you go to the Joseph Smith papers? You didn't, but you claim you study. In 1834, there was a meeting of all of the quorum Melchizedek priesthood leadership. And in that meeting, we are told from the Joseph Smith papers that Sidney Rigdon raised his hand, Mr. Cotta, Finney Barberino, and proposed that the name be changed to the Church of Latter-day Saints. And in accordance with policy and procedure, it was unanimously approved. So the name of the Church of Christ, which was the founding name by the 6 members who started the church, was changed to the Church of Latter-day Saints. So Joseph Smith lied in section 115? Or was it Willard Richards? What happened in 1838? The Mormon War. Militate against the church. What happened with that Mormon War? Oh, Joseph Smith was cooed by Brigham Young, who rose to the president of the Quorum of the 12 Missionaries. And so Mormons claim unauthorized succession from Joseph Smith, the founder, and lie about the name of the church, claiming that Brigham Young is to succeed Joseph Smith. Well, the church news yesterday also came out with the Brigham Young papers to say that Brigham Young is the second president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. But wait, he wasn't. He's the first. Because that was not the name of Joseph Smith's church. So, but at least he was allowed to succeed, right? Because that's how Joseph set it up for. Are you sure? You claim you study, did you? Section 107, 1835, before the publication of the 1835 Doctrine and Covenants. So this was put in. Joseph Smith organizes the Quorum of 12 missionaries. And to assist the Quorum of the 12 missionaries, there is the 70 missionaries, also formed. I have to say missionaries because Joseph Smith had more quorums. There was an administrative 12 called the High Council. That's section 102. And they had a quorum of 12 to assist them, or quorum 70, sorry, to assist them. Two separate 12 with 70s. Why doesn't the church tell us this? It's in the Joseph Smith papers. They did sort of tell us. They just didn't tell us. They make you do the work. You have to study to find out the truth, that this church has been lying to you. And so, in verse 22, after talking about how every single quorum is to vote for their president, and that's exactly what Brigham Young did to coup the 12, chased out Thomas B. Marsh with his Danites. Brigham Young had plausible deniability, and there's supposedly a document that surfaced from Joseph Smith saying he's got revelation to leave the ministry and go be with your family during the time of the war. And then the Danites chase out Thomas B. Marsh. And so the remaining members vote Brigham Young. Unanimous vote of those who remain, who were loyal to Brigham Young. Coincidentally. Coincidence. Coinkadink. But verse 22 is different. Just like the 70. And this isn't where he says that 7 presidents for the 70, is it? Nope. But, yeah, you all know that the 70 have 7 presidents, right? And the presiding 70 president is the last one put in. Is that still the case, Nelson? Is it? Or are they all equal partners? Just like a marriage, even though the man presides. Equal partners, but the man presides. Right? No difference. Same meaning. So it's not an equal partnership, is it? Oh, no, it is. Of the Melchizedek priesthood. So, Aaronic priesthood? No. Melchizedek priesthood. 3 presiding high priests. Not 1? Because Joseph Smith says 1. Him. We can get to that. We should get to that. Chosen by the body. How do we know what chosen means? The previous. Vote. An actual vote. Not a sustaining vote that you're going to hear about again in October conference. Because abomination of desolation did not happen Monday. So that's completely different. And those 3 presidents, not president and 2 counselors, 70 presidents. First presidency presidents. All equal, but no presider. They all preside. They are all equal. That's how the marriage is supposed to be, by the way, in case you didn't catch on to my jokes. And so, is this what Brigham Young established? Nope. Nope. For some reason, he twisted this, and you can't find it. Joseph Smith didn't say that that's how it's done. He says, makes very clear, that when Joseph dies, the whole Melchizedek priesthood gathers together in conclave, seals the door because the Pope has been murdered. Angels and demons, Dan Brown. And they vote. Not sustaining, vote. Did that happen? This is the authorized process, Mormons. You say you study. You say the church is true. You say that Joseph Smith is true, but that this church is true. You say the Book of Mormon is the word of Jesus. That this church is true. Verse 91 of the same section. The duty of the president, and yes, he said once he is dead, the succession is 3 presidents. So he's talking about Joseph. Joseph is talking about Joseph. His duty as the president is of the office of the high priesthood to preside equally with himself over the whole church, and to be like unto Peter? Isn't that the keys? No, that's the keys for the 12 apostle missionaries. Not the 12 high council keys. No, the keys for preaching the message of the kingdom are the keys of Peter. And so Peter, James, and John, in a vision that is not recorded, just referred to, gave Joseph Smith the keys to preach the Book of Mormon. And that's what the responsibility of the 12 apostle missionaries and the 70 missionaries was. No more, no less. Because you did use the Joseph Smith papers to do your study with, right? This whole section, section 107, the licenses are listed for each of the missionaries. Authorized to go out with the Book of Mormon. That's it. That's all. Joseph even says, once you establish a church, get the hell out. Don't come back unless you're called to be a speaker at a conference. Do they do that? And so, yes, a man like Moses is the head of the Church of Joseph Smith, but not the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's Peter. Nelson did the photo op at the Vatican Temple. And so thus, seer, revelator, prophet, having all the gifts of God. Nothing is missing. I didn't leave anything out. You didn't follow me because you trust me. Right? I didn't leave out translator. Not at all. Did you know that the Joseph Smith history was rejected by Brigham Young? That was not in his canon. There was no pearl of great price for Brigham Young. That was John Taylor who made it official canon. Oops. Somebody should have let John in on that. Because there was a certain fun thing this year. Remember in last year, or 2019's October General Conference, Nelson gets up and announces that 2020 is the bicentennial year of the first vision of who? Jesus, right? We should go to that first. So he's described as the sun at noonday. Kind of key and important for you. But Joseph Smith never says Jesus. I wonder why. Wonder if it has anything to do with the first verse. He says that the personage who addressed him said that all the Christian creeds, we're Christian, are we? Are an abomination? Strange. Is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints an abomination in the sight of the personage? Is this church the Church of Lucifer? Baby name meaning? He said it over the pulpit of conference. I guess it's true. This is the start of Christianity. Roman Emperor Constantine, the first creed. Jesus is the name, and he, as his nature and character, is, by definition, in the creed, not real. So we're not real, but non-Trinitarian. Interesting. So here in verse 40, remember section 107, verse 91, the man like Moses, that's Joseph Smith, he's now being told by the sun at noonday, who says he's Malachi, and Joseph Smith Papers says his name is Nephi, which means section 27 verse 5 needs to be changed to Nephi. So the key of Ezekiel 37 is from Nephi. Okay? Joseph Smith Papers, authoritative source. And is told to refer to the prophecy in Acts. Chapter 3, 22 and 23. Precisely as it stands in our New Testament. And then goes on to say, cut off. You did check that, didn't you? You study, don't you? You claim you do. You're not a liar. Because Russell Marion is the author of all lies. Baby name meaning. But Joseph Smith is now being told that that prophet, referred to in Acts, is our Christ. Who could it be now? Who could it be knocking at my door? Elijah. Winging it off the top of my head there, trying to do a Passover of the Jews with Elijah who knocks on the door, and that's why they leave the door open on the east side, because he's supposed to come from the east, because that's how signs in the heavens travel from east to west. And then they set out a table, and then they're debating as their first question to ask him when he returns, are we supposed to have a cup for you? Is that rule number 614? Or is it just 613? Oh, Jews, you're so funny. But yeah, the Kirtland Temple vision, yeah, he shows up on Passover, third day, go figure, at his temple. Suddenly came to his temple. Interesting. Sure, it has nothing to do with the Church of Jesus Christ. It wasn't Jesus who appeared. There was no Jesus. Look it up. You do study, right? You don't lie about studying. No Jesus. And no, Jehovah is not Jesus in Hebrew. Joshua is. You were lied to. So Yahweh is technically Elijah. It's the same name. There's also Elishua. That's more of Jesus. And hey, wait, there's Moses there too. I wonder what keys Moses gave to Joseph Smith. Oh, right, we read it in section 107, verse 91. The keys of the presidency of the church. And we're getting to it. Acts tells us the man like Moses is our Christ. So it's Jesus. Oh, God. And so, no, the man like Moses is the learning of the Jews. It's from their law. It's from Deuteronomy, not Acts. Acts is referring to Deuteronomy, the law of the Jews. And so, in the learning of the Jews, it's neither Trinitarian or non-Trinitarian. The Christ is human, mortal, flesh and blood, human, with human parents, not non-Trinitarian parents, not Trinitarian parents. No immaculate conception. That has to do with the sign in the heavens. Obviously, Virgo doesn't get pregnant. It's referring to Jupiter. And so Joseph Smith is talking about the last days. It says the redemption of Zion must needs come by power. Therefore, verse 16, section 103, you study your scriptures, right? You're not fooled by evil-disposed and designing persons militating against Joseph's church. I will raise up, hey, a pattern match. You look for patterns in Scripture because it means they're talking about the same guy. Unto my people. Well, now we have to investigate. Who is my people of Joseph Smith? I don't know. That's a tricky one, isn't it? Very complicated. Maybe you guys know. You claim to study your scriptures. You wouldn't lie because the author of all lies is Russell Marion, baby name meaning. Amen. I don't see Jesus here. It's Fake news. Who shall lead them like as Moses. Hey, he's our Christ. Joseph Smith said so in verse 40 of the Joseph Smith History, published in 1838, with the name of the church as the Church of Latter-day Saints. So the Book of Mormon, the keystone, not that keystone on the doors of the Salt Lake Temple keystone, says that the Book of Mormon is written in the learning of the Jews, language of the Egyptians. Okay, so non-Trinitarian Jesus. Can you say anti-Semitic? Everybody repeat it. Anti-Semitic. You hate the Jews when you replace the Jews. All Christians hate the Jews because all Christians replace the Jews. Who wrote the New Testament? The Jews. Who replaced the New Testament authors of the Jews? Christians. Anti-Semitic. It's real simple. So in verse 8, Lehi is carried away in a vision. And he sees a sign in the heavens. Verse 8. You do know how to read, at least, right? Since you apparently don't know how to study, you claim to study, which means you're a liar, and Marion Russell is Russell Marion is the author of all lies, baby name meaning. And so he sees Saturn. That's the father of Jupiter. These are signs in the heavens. Sitting upon his throne. Well, that's the constellation of Ophiuchus, who's battling the serpent. That's considered the throne of God. So Saturn is in Ophiuchus. And he sees Jupiter, but describes him as the sun at noonday. Hey, that Egyptian sun god at noonday, Amun. Interesting. Jupiter. Now, interestingly, Joseph Smith Papers, because you researched, you studied, you're not a liar. Joseph Smith was working in 1838 on the Book of Abraham and came out and said the name of our Christ is A-W-M-E-N. Well, why isn't that in our publications? It sort of is. Section 116. Adam Ondai Amun. A-H-M-A-N. Well, that's the wrong spelling. Wait a minute. 116 is from 1838. Just like Joseph Smith Papers working on the Book of Abraham. A-W-M-E-N. 116 spelled it wrong? In the same year that Joseph Smith reveals this to us. That's strange. 1838. Hey, section 115 was also 1838, and it was wrong about the name of the church's name. Because the Joseph Smith history says it was not the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It's the Church of Latter-day Saints. And now we're seeing another misspelling. That's strange. Well, where is Adam Ondai Amun? Oh, it's right there by Newell K. Whitney. we'll come back to the Book of Mormon, because it's the same pattern as the second vision of Joseph Smith, by the way, because there's 12 others following, just in case I forget. Section 117, right after 116. Now in 1981, the church came out with a new edition of the triple combination. They say they corrected all of the code, put the real words in there. And so, there's Adam-on-Diamond, the real word, not code anymore, right? On the plains of Olaha, Shineha. Real words of the places still out there, right? Not code for, say, Kirtland. They fixed it all, decoded everything. Babylon in section 1, verse 16 is still Babylon, right? It's not the great and abominable church whore that John in Revelation talks about, that Nephi's vision talks about as the great and abominable church, which Babylon had been destroyed. Not yet, though, according to literal history, Book of Mormon, of non-Trinitarian Jesus. Verse 11. Let my servant, Newell K. Whitney, living right there near Adam-on-Diamond, be ashamed of the Nicolaitan band. Don't look at the footnote, because then you'll find out that it's a coded word that wasn't decoded. Comes from Revelation. And Revelation 2, verse 6 and verse 15, according to the footnotes, 11a. So it's not the Nicolaitan band. Who were in Adam-on-Diamond? Who was Newell K. Whitney associating with? 1838. You know about the story of Benjamin Franklin Johnson, member of the Church of Joseph Smith. He joined when it was the Church of Latter-day Saints, I believe. He moved with his family to Adam-on-Diamond. It's still in Wikipedia. Church hasn't tampered with it yet. He's the one that we were told of when we were in seminary, that a hooligan stuck a gun in his face, whether it was a pistol or a rifle, I don't care, doesn't matter. This is the general concept, is that you need to stand strong and defend the church when people threaten to murder you to deny it. That's Benjamin Franklin Johnson. He moves to Adam-on-Diamond, and a hooligan living in Adam-on-Diamond, as he's arrested in Adam-on-Diamond, held hostage, and is threatened by a resident of Adam-on-Diamond, right there with Newell K. Whitney, to deny Joseph's church. And he says, I did not deny the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Yep. And so then Heber C. Kimball then made him an elder for his loyalty. And he came with Brigham Young into the valley because he would not deny the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints after moving there, having joined Joseph's church. You study, right? You're not a liar. Who is that secret band of the Danites? Spoiler alert. Interesting, Samson is a Danite. The man like Moses, Emmanuel, the sun god at noonday, Samson is sun king. I wonder if there's a connection in the learning of the Jews. Yes. And so then he has his wedding at the Philistine temple, room number 13. It's there in the text, didn't you see it? And then has his wedding supper feast at the lion house next to the beehive house. It's right there in the text. And sure enough, as a sun king, a death would be a solar eclipse. Hey, they're telling a story which is a sign in the heavens. Of a solar eclipse in Leo the lion. I wonder when that was on August 21st, 2017. Hey, that was Monson's birthday, wasn't it? Which church is Monson a part of? It was also the ancient religious Egyptian calendar New Year, which changes, and so thus to have a solar eclipse on a new year is a once-in-an-existence event. And the Egyptians knew about that. They knew about the date. That's strange. You mean all the prophecies in the Bible are from the Egyptian documents? Which means they were in Alexandria making their scriptures? And so, yeah, we see the 12 others following Jesus, right? Not Emmanuel. A-W-M-E-N-L. Amen-El. That's who Isaiah is talking about, the Egyptian sun god at noonday. And so, yeah, he gives him a book that talks about destruction. Hey, Joseph Smith, Emmanuel comes after talking about the Urim and Thummim, which Abraham says he uses to look at the signs in the heavens. And then gives him a Book of Mormon, but it's Egyptian gold plates of the Yorkites Knights Templar. You know, the Holy Grail, bloodline of the Christ, descended from King David, of the David-Moses dynasty, 18th dynasty of Egypt. And David Moses the Fourth was the one who went in to Israel at Armageddon 1 that John talks about, but for the latter days. Armageddon 1, David Moses the Fourth. And in the middle of that war, he goes to the hill, the mountain, of Salem. And after that vacation, they then erect a temple to the house of David and talk about a son named King of Peace. But until he becomes king, he's a prince. A prince of peace. Hey, Isaiah talks about that. Upon his shoulders shall be the government, and everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. However, that's quoted. And here Joseph Smith is getting the same book. It's not like his father, Joseph Smith Sr., was a master mason at the Yorkite Lodge in Canandaigua, New York. And the Book of Mormon came from where? Oh, right, that whole William Morgan incident. He had uncovered the secret plot of the Scottish Rites Masons that they were going to overthrow the government in the latter days using the Bible star dates from Revelation 12 and Revelation 19 to overthrow the government and establish the New World Order of Lucifer. You know, the keystone on the symbol or the doors of the Salt Lake Temple. So the Book of Mormon is warning us of the latter days, huh? So this is actually 23rd September 2017? Yeah, Revelation 12. It's an exact pattern match for that too. But verse 5 needs to be moved to the first sign in the heavens. And do we have proof of this, Travis? Yeah, the Joseph Smith translation, which is not really a translation, it's a revision, moves verse 5 to verse 3. Ta-da! Conforming with the Book of Mormon, conforming with the actual sign in the heavens that occurred on the 23rd of September 2017. The first year of the reign of King Zedekiah, king of Judah. Right? Literal history. Right? You study, right? You know that Babylon is the time period that the Book of Mormon starts with. They're coming to get ya. They're going to destroy you. And it's on September 11th. Oops. They didn't go through with it. I'm sure it had nothing to do with me exposing the date. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the church getting pissed with me yesterday, giving me internet problems. I'm sure it has nothing to do with the church finally coming out and saying, oh yeah, by the way, we're going to have conference on the 30th and the 1st. I'm sure it has nothing to do with saying, hey, we've now started the Brigham Young papers. We finished volume 1. Nope, not at all. No coincidence, no connection. Fake news. And so, yeah, if you still refuse to study and thus refuse to believe the scriptures that I went over with you, I didn't make anything up. It's in the Joseph Smith papers. I told you. I read from the scriptures. You could have followed along. You make the choice. And then when you add that tithing, section 119, violates what Malachi is telling you about the latter days, about the day of Armageddon, chapter 64, Joseph Smith refers to Malachi and tithing. So Joseph Smith is not talking about priestcraft and an extortion threat that section 119 is. Notice the date of when section 64 was given. Who exposed it? And who therefore didn't go through with it? I told you the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is having a real hard time hiring effective assassins. They're not getting their money's worth. If you want something done right, Russell Marion, you need to do it yourself. And they've been doing some things. You know, the Respect for Marriage Act is now the Disrespect for Marriage Act, thanks to the church. All part of that Council for National Policy, the secret combination to overthrow the government. That's how you know. Anybody who goes contrary to the Constitution is the enemy. So, who wants to overthrow religious freedom in the First Amendment? Those who claim to want more religious freedom. Who wants to overthrow freedom of speech? those who claim that taking away the free speech by bullying and threatening is free speech, and petitioning for a redress of grievances, instead turning it around and calling them a terrorist. Right, Nelson? Jesus was called a terrorist. He was locked up. It wasn't 6 years of his life. Patterns, guys. You look for patterns. But yeah, Jesus Christ said, I will destroy this temple. And so he was locked up as a terrorist. He was going to destroy buildings, blow them up. But who did? The Romans. They destroyed the temple, not Jesus. Patterns. Prophecy of the real Christ. Pay attention, Mormons. Because you study, right? You wouldn't lie to me. Because the author of all lies, baby name meaning,